From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on Francesa on the Fan on this Wednesday, the 25th day of October, as October just sinks slowly into the west. And before you know it, it's November. We got a lot going on in November. We got the big show at the Tiller Center on the 15th. And then before you know it, the 15th of December will be here, and we'll be saying goodbye. Mons knows every day. How many shows, Mons? How many shows? 30-something? 30?
Mike Richter.
What's that now?
35.
35. Okay. 35. 35 shows left. That's it. Wow. Once you get inside 30, it's really short. You know, we're really starting to, they're really coming fast and furious now. After last night, and what was tougher, being a Yankee fan and saying what might have been against Kershaw and the Dodgers, or being a Met fan and watching Turner hit another home run? I mean, that's pain. Watching him become Mr. October has to be really tough for the Met fans. I mean, you know, that's just got to be tough. Man, he has had some career in the postseason. And last night, after let's be honest, a wonderful Kershaw performance, an overpowering Kershaw performance, giving you what you would always hope to get from him. I know there's always a home run in there, but who cares? 7 innings, 3 hits, 11 strikeouts. I mean, that's what you want. And now Verlander, who has been the star of October, again has to. And this is why, if they win, he will be the difference again, because right now he has to deliver them or they are in big trouble. You can't see them beating the Dodgers 4 out of 5. Not the way the Dodgers are gone this year. Can they go 0-2 to the Dodgers and think they're going to win that series? That's just too hard to do. They need to win this game tonight with Verlander against Hill to tie this series up, so they put the pressure right back on Verlander again this evening after the win last night. So from that standpoint, already it becomes about him, just like it was in the last series, and he delivered in a very, very big way, and we'll see how he does here this evening as the Dodgers move up. Dodgers continue to win, and they draw first blood in this World Series. So we'll see what happens from there. It's a week where the NFL begins to move towards November. You start to sort out things, and when you look from our standpoint, it's not great. I mean, the Jets have overachieved to this point, but no one's going to take them seriously to any point. And you also know that this Giant season, no matter what anybody wants to try and say about it, there is not much that is worth reclamating in what is going to be a very long slog to the finish, with 9 games left to play and the season for all intents and purposes already over. And remember, this is a mighty fall. And today, Reese, after stepping out, took his beatings. All right? I mean, he knew he was going to get it. He's had his good days, took his beatings yesterday, and really didn't shed any serious light on anything except to say, I'm the reason. Took some blame, which you want to call that admirable. Said some nice things about a couple of people, but also, set up something that will be decided as this unfolds, and it will be out of his control, and maybe even a little bit out of the coach's control. These players will decide these guys' fates, and this team will have to play some spirited football. If they just roll over and die, it will mean enormous changes to this organization next year. They will not be able to withstand that. And that will be, really up to the players. And right now, when you look at that offense, there's not a lot to like as they go to the bye week. A lot of things have to change in a hurry for them against what is a very competitive schedule. So there's a lot of work there, or there could be massive, absolutely massive changes with the Giants going forward. So it's a time where the only team that it really is on very stable ground in this whole town. I get, listen, after a bad start, would you call the Rangers on stable ground, Mons, or are you worried about them still right now?
A lot of people are. I'm not.
All right. But other than that, there are not a lot of strong teams in this town right now. You look at it, we're not close to the basketball teams are bad. The football teams are not good. They're bad. The hockey teams are, how would you label the three hockey teams? How do you want to call them?
Good?
Who's good?
Well, the Rangers are good.
You think they're good right
Devils
now?
are better.
So you think they're good right
Improving.
now? Okay. Well, we think they're going to be okay. But nobody's of championship level. And this town, other than the Yankees right now, there's a lot of the Mets have a lot of work to do. The football teams have a lot of work to do. The basketball teams have an immense amount of work to do. The hockey teams aren't close to a championship. And right now you're on a major drought in this town as far as championships. It's been a long time between championships. The Yankees obviously could have come close this year, and they are right back to where they'll be ready to compete for one. And they would be the one that you would look forward to winning one in the near future. No one else is even close from that standpoint. This is a town right now that's got a lot of work to do, with a lot of teams, a lot of work to do, and is right now looking at a lot of losing seasons, when you look at it. So, it's pretty bleak, except for the Yankees right now. And the Giant optimism, were we all wrong about the Giants? I thought they were a team that could make the playoffs this year. I thought they were a playoff team. Be the first to admit that. I thought they'd win double digits. I thought they'd be a playoff team. I didn't like what they did with the offensive line. It scared me. It had me worried since last spring. The team was very confident that they had answered their questions in the postseason and in the offseason, even though they were just minor adjustments. They still, said things about Flowers where they were far more optimistic about him than I was. They still, yesterday, he said things about Flowers that were far more optimistic than I would be. So they're still deluding themselves a little bit about that part of it. And everything that could happen went wrong, including that Beckham never started a season. From the injury in preseason, he came in limping and went out limping. So he offered nothing to the season. And then you had Marshall was bad and then hurt. Shepard never got started. And then you have the offensive line, no running game, so that happened. You've had injuries on the defensive side, plus the defense hasn't had anywhere near the hunger that it played with. The opportunism, the aggressiveness that it showed last year in a terrific season has not been there this year. Because they would have won games. They had 3 leads in the fourth quarter that they blew, including one time 3 different times they had leads in the fourth quarter and blew them. So they had chances to win games, but the defense let them down. It wasn't just the offense's problems this year. So they have big issues. We had no expectations for the Jets, no expectations for the basketball team. So there's a lot of work to be done, and we are a long way in this town from digging out of a lot of problems with these teams. So other than the Yankees, who were carrying the banner and carried it a long way, you would like to see that one more step. But you know what? That's for next year, and next year there will be great expectations there. But for the Giants, it is a long way to the end of this season. It probably looks like it's interminable, but it could get uglier before it gets better, and we'll see what they do after the bye week. The Jets this week get an Atlanta team, which I just am completely confounded by. I mean, you want to talk about a team that is playing way, way below its pay grade. It is the Atlanta Falcons. That team, you look at what they lined up last Sunday night against New England, and give me a break. You can't play that way with that talent. So I was dead wrong about that team because I did not think the loss of an offensive coordinator would take a team that set records on offense and have them reeling on offense. But that is how bad it is. And talking to some people, I know they say running wrong routes, guys out of position. The timing been off to where balls are getting hit and tipped that should never have happened. Ryan missing open receivers in big spots. Except for last weekend's game, they routed the Pats and played 4 games that came down to the last play. They won 2 and lost 2. But now they've lost 3 games in a row, and they come here to play the Jets this week, and there is a lot on the line for them as they're about to watch their season completely implode. And this is a team that is loaded with talent. I mean, there aren't a lot of Jets who could start on that team on offense. I'm not even sure. There might be, if I went and analyzed it, there might be one player that could start on Atlanta for the Jets on offense. Maybe one. But I doubt it would be 2. That's how much difference the level is of the offense between Atlanta and the Jets this week. as far as the overall ability of this team, and they have done absolutely nothing in recent weeks. So the situation there has reached really a weird place in what should have been and should still be a good season. I mean, the NFC has taken some real hits. Obviously with the Giants' demise, the fact that, Rodgers went down. Minnesota has hung in, considering the fact they lost their quarterback and their running back. They have hung in pretty well. Seattle is hanging around, although their offense isn't great. Arizona is not worth anything anymore. I never believed in Detroit. Carolina's been a little disappointing. Tampa's been a lot disappointing. And Philly's been a big, big step up. And Dallas has been muddling around. Little good here, good there, bad here, bad there. So they've been, what their record indicates, 500. But other than Philly, and the Saints have won 4 straight after an 0-2 start, which they've looked a little better. And actually, if one game's on the road, which is usually a little unusual for them, they have a lot of home games still to play. That division is going to be very interesting, and it's very competitive. But Atlanta at 3-3 is a major disappointment as they get ready to come bring that squad to New York on Sunday to take on the Jets. And you wonder what's going to snap them out of it. You really do. So it really is wide open. Wide open. And right now you'd have to call Philly the team to beat, but I don't know that I'm ready to say that they're going to go to a Super Bowl this year. Although their quarterback has been, as I stated, has been in my mind the MVP of the season so far. So a lot of question marks there. The Giants get the week off. The Jets will be greeting that Atlanta team. Knicks might win a game one of these days. It was a good time to play Boston. Boston had half a team. Had half a team right now. And they still couldn't beat them. Couldn't even beat them. Couldn't even play with them. So that's going to be ugly and getting uglier. Talking about ugly, the Cavs GM is on. Kobe Altman. He asked to come on. So he's on in a little while, which should be interesting to talk to him. The Cavs right now, Wade has to step out of the lineup. Rose is hurt, and LeBron has to go and basically do everything. Playing point guard last night, they had trouble beating the Bulls, and LeBron had to, go out there and give it one of those. I'm going to have to go out there and, put forth a big effort in the game. 34 points, 13 assists. So playing a point last night for his team, but that team is they're much weaker than they were last year. Cleveland, much weaker. They, that Irving thing, they didn't even come close to compensating for that. And until they get the little guy back, which is what, January? When does he come back? January, December? I guess I'll find out when I talk to GM when he comes back. But even when he comes back, I don't think they're going to be near. I think they're farther away from beating Golden State now than they were last year by a wide margin.
I mean, Love had a good game last night, but it's basically 5-on-1.
It's a one-man team. I mean, really, if you took him off that team right now would win, 15 games. Look at that team they had last night. Crowder, Smith, Love. He comes back in January. So, I mean, it's not a good team, except for, of course, they got a guy who's worth 50 games himself. That's it. So he's still the unbeatable one, and that's why they win games. All right, so we got a lot to get to. We'll open it up, see what's going on. We will have the Cavaliers GM. We'll get into all the baseball stuff after a Dodger win in game number 1. Turner's the weirdest guy in the world. First of all, I don't get the act. I don't get the look, but he has become just an incredible postseason hitter. He's incredibly clutch. He's had so many big hits. It's amazing how good he is in the postseason. Remarkable. It really is. So, and a big win for the Dodgers. We'll get to all that. Here's the Make Man.